Classroom chaos, not on your watch. Here's how to handle difficult students when you're a substitute teacher. The first thing I want to say about difficult is you need to define what difficult means to you. I personally believe that difficulty means something different to other people. So, for example, there might be a student who is a problem student, someone who's just is always acting up, and you get them one day and they're an angel, and you're like, huh, it wasn't my class management. Wonder why they were so good, maybe you were able to handle, sorry, the stupid tag. Maybe you were able to handle that student and that didn't seem difficult to you. To me, a difficult student would be an all-in-one package of disrespecting me, saying no to me when I give them their assignments, not following the expectations, swearing, throwing things, getting out of their seat, thinking they're the class clown and distracting other kids and whatever it is. And I've had this story right here in my classroom confessions playlist. So I think it just depends on your level of or what you think difficult means. The first thing is to stay calm and don't take it personally. So hard to stay calm. I know. But here's the thing. You do not want to escalate a situation, especially with a student. You do not want to fight with a child. They're a child. Okay? Be the adult in the room. You could talk to them. You can have a conversation with them and say, what is up? What's wrong? But don't escalate a situation and don't embarrass the student. If you need to, you can call admin, and just don't take it personally. Some kids are, difficult, and some kids just don't know how to be nice sometimes. So just don't take it personal. It's not anything you're doing. It could be that they just are missing their teacher for the day. Set the tone immediately. So if you've been following here, I say this a lot. Always greet the students at the door, and you'll know the difficult ones right as soon as they walk in the door. They're throwing things or wrestling with their friends and whatever. You're like, what the heck? You can say to them, hey guys, we don't touch each other. No. Right now, you can see the assignments on the board. I'm greeting your classmates at the door. Look at this, look at the expectations, and I will be right there when the bell rings. You can be firm with that. And then when class starts, set your expectations, and that is that. And be clear with your expectations, and then be fair. So one thing that I have learned when I was subbing, I should have thought about teaching you guys this, but I had learned it's called a consequence ladder. And basically what you do, it's more for you, but you can say it to the students too. So level 1. So it's a ladder. Think of a ladder, right? So there's different tiers. And so you have a student who comes in and is wrestling with their friends, and you give them a warning and a verbal warning, and then whatever that verbal warning, you say it, it's on the ladder. I'll put it up here, and that's their first warning. The second time, you're moving their seat, and then the third time is a call to the office. So it's there to, one, help you with class management, and then it's it doesn't matter what the behavior is. And what I mean by that is are they throwing an eraser at their friends? Are they talking? Are they on their phone when you told them 3 times to get off their phone? Those behaviors, they're not technically bad. It's just right? Versus like throwing a chair at someone. That's terrible, and you need to call admin and get the students out. Use your proximity and your presence. This works really well, especially now that there's technology, and sometimes kids look like they're doing their best working, and then you're sitting at your desk being like, oh, what little angels. And then you decide to walk around and you catch one watching March Madness, or you're catching them watching something or Roblox, and then you're like, wait, how did you finish your assignment? And they're like, I'll do it at home. It's like, but if you use your proximity and your presence, they will typically will get their work done that way. And if they're talking and you don't want them to talk and you just move closer to them, they'll not like to a point where they're uncomfortable because you're like on top of them, but like just close enough that they would be like, oh, she's like right there. Okay. Just get my work out. Acknowledge the positive behavior. Always acknowledge positive behavior. You can say like, thank you, Alexa, for doing your work, or thank you for handing in your paper, like so that the whole class hears. Or in kindergarten, thank you for sitting crisscross applesauce, Alexa. And then everyone else does it. Just always look for the positives. We have the negatives a lot. If you're having a rough day, find the positives and go off of that. Have a behavior management toolbox. So class management, super important to have. And I know a lot of times principals, or even sometimes in the lesson plans, the teachers say, if you have a problem, call the office.
Don't call the office for every single problem.
Because things can be addressed right then and there. And that's okay. And you probably don't want to be the mean sub. Well, guess what? If a kid's talking and you're trying to talk, you need to say, hey, stop talking. Oh, I'm filming.
Oh, sorry.
So if in that case, like if they're talking too much, like you can have elementary school does clapping chants, like 1, 2, 3, eyes on me, or if you can hear me, clap 3 times. Things like that help for the most part. If they're completely out of control, then that's when you would call the office. Other things you can do is, I actually really did this in middle school and high school, is like they were talking really loud one day and I was like, okay, they need to shut up. So I just started telling them a story, and I was making up the story. I have no idea what it was about. And then there's like 35 kids. It's like a lot of kids. And I was just saying this story and their heads kept going, and then they were like listening, and I went, oh, sorry, I got sidetracked. Back to what you were doing. Okay. Everyone make sure you're working. They were like, okay. Like, what was she talking about? So something along those lines. Even like, again, stating your expectations. In high school, when you have cell phones, you can say to them, if you work, show me your work when you're done, and then you can have your cell phone for the rest of the class, things like that. Or even if they have a pouch in class, you can say to them, like, put your phones in the pouch, and then when you're done with your work, show me, come and get your phone. Document and report when needed. I think this is important. Some people only like to do positives, but I feel like if you have something that like really needs to be told to the teacher, like you need to tell the teacher, especially if it's like an IEP child, and they may be doing data on them or something. It's important to just document that, because they might be saying like, this kid is nasty when there's a substitute teacher. And then they kind of realize like, okay, they like familiarity and consistency. So, I don't know. But it's important to document. That way the students can be told by their teacher like what not to do. And lastly, reflect and reframe. You're going to have the behaviors. You're going to have the mean kids. But how did you handle it? Reflect on how you handled the situation and how it went when you handled it, and then what you could do better. And I'll see you in this video.